Hi, I'm Rebecca from engVid. In this lesson, I'll show you how to correct a very simple error that's often made by English learners, especially at a beginner or intermediate level. And this mistake is called using a duplicate subject. What does that mean? It means using the subject more than once. All right? So I'm going to show you exactly what it sounds like and how to correct it. Okay? Here we go. So let's look at these three sentences. My brother is a doctor. Now, in this sentence, which is the subject? It's my brother, right? What's the verb? Is. That's fine. But there's one subject and one verb. Now, instead of saying my brother, I could use a pronoun, right? So then I could say he is a doctor. All right? Again, one subject, one verb. But let's look at this one. So this was right, but let's look what happened here. Here it says, my brother, he is a doctor. So what's wrong there? Well, what happened is that you had brother, which was the subject, and you also have here he. And that's called a duplicate subject, using the subject more than once, which in English is wrong, okay? It's possible in different languages that it's okay to speak like that, but in English, it's correct not to do that, okay? It's wrong to do that. It's incorrect to do it. So here, you would either need to go back to saying my brother is a doctor, or you can say he is a doctor, but not both, all right? That's the important thing. Okay, now here we had one subject, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes in an English sentence, we have more than one subject, and that's okay as long as we don't repeat them in the pronouns. Let's look at an example of that. So here we have Sarah and John are writers, okay? So what's the subject here? So it's this whole thing, Sarah, John, right? And then we have are, which is the verb. So here we have a compound subject connected by and. That's fine. That's not repeating anything because these are two different people. We talked about them once. Or we could say, so this one's okay. Instead of saying Sarah and John, we could call them they, right? One subject. Are, one verb. That's fine. And that's also correct. But let's look at this one. Sarah and John, they are writers. Is that correct? No, that's wrong. Because we had Sarah and John, but then we repeated it by saying they, right? That's not correct. Okay, so we would have to take that out. We could say Sarah and John are writers, or we could take out Sarah and John and just say they are writers, like we did up here. But you cannot do both, all right? And that's what tends to happen sometimes when people are just starting, okay? They tend to use both. Not sure exactly why it happens. As I said, maybe it's possible in other languages, but in English, it's not. It would be wrong. Let's look at another example, okay? Now that you, I think, understand what's going on, you will see it before I do. So here we could say, Tom never eats dessert. Tom is the subject. That's fine. Here, instead of saying Tom, we use the pronoun he. So he never eats dessert. That's fine too, only one subject. And here we said, Tom, he never eats dessert. Is that right? No. By now, you know that's wrong. Why? Because we had Tom and we had he, and we can't do that because Tom and he are the same subject, the same person. So what you have to remember is this rule, that if you use a pronoun, you use the pronoun to replace the subject, not in addition to it, okay? So you either use the subject, the main subject, let's say a name or something, Tom, or you use the pronoun, he, but you don't say Tom and he in the same sentence, okay? Because that would be a duplicate subject and we can't do that in English. Now, this is really important, of course, when you're speaking, but also in any exam that you're doing, any kind of writing, any academic writing, any exam writing, any business writing, you don't want to make this mistake because it's a very basic mistake and it doesn't make you look good, okay? But it's very easy to clean up. Let's do a little practice now so you can do just that. All right, So now we're going to go through these 8 sentences one by one, and you tell me whether it's right or it's wrong, okay? Try to think in terms of, is there one subject or are we repeating the subject unnecessarily? Okay, that's what you're looking for. And again, remember, some are correct, some are not. So, number 1, the car, it was going too fast. Now you should be able to tell me right away, okay, if it's right or wrong. So, this is wrong, okay? Now, if you can't tell me right away, then pause the video, okay? Think about it, and then put it back on, and then I'll give you the answer, okay? So why is this wrong? Because what's the subject here? The car. And then what happened? We put in this, it, okay? So we repeated the pronoun. We included a pronoun, and we also have the actual subject. So we have a double subject, which you do not need, okay? Number 2, they went to bed early. Is that right or wrong? Tell me quickly. It's right. Okay, good. What's the subject? They. Okay, happens to be a pronoun. That's okay. Your subject can be a regular noun, a pronoun. Okay, but just one. All right, not repeated. Number 3, Steve, he is so talented. Right or wrong? That one is wrong. Why? Subject, Steve, and another one, repeated, he, wrong. Okay, so let's take that out and make it correct. Steve is so talented. Up here, the car was going too fast. Okay, one subject, nice and clean. No repetition of the subject. Number 4, Mr. Brown teaches very well. Is that right or wrong? That one is right. Okay, again, what's the subject? Mr. Brown. And we didn't repeat it. Okay, so it's perfectly fine. Number 5, your package arrived today. Right or wrong? Okay, that one is also correct. The subject is package, your package. And then we go to the verb, no repetition, nice and clean. Okay, you're getting it? Good. Number 6, Rick and Susan, they will call me. Is that right or wrong? Okay, that one is wrong. Why? We have a compound subject, Rick and Susan, and we don't need to add the pronoun here. Okay, so we take that out. Rick and Susan will call me. Or if you know who you're talking about, you could just say, they will call me, but not both. All right? Good. Number 7, the suitcase, which it is brown, is mine. This one is a little bit different, but I think you can still tell if it's right or wrong. Okay? The suitcase, which it is brown, is mine. That is wrong. Why? Because what's the subject here? Okay? The suitcase. All right? And then we have here, which it is brown. No. So we would just say, the suitcase, comma, which is brown, comma, is mine. Okay? Here we have the verb. All right. And the last one, Dr. Greenberg isn't here today. Is that right or wrong? That one is correct. Okay? It doesn't matter if it's a positive subject or a negative subject. That doesn't matter. We're talking about whether we're repeating the subject. And in this case, no. The subject was Dr. Greenberg, and we didn't repeat it, so it's perfectly fine. Okay? So pay attention to when you're speaking, when others are speaking, and listen for this mistake. And if you make it in your writing or while you're speaking, stop yourself, correct yourself, and say, oh, I don't need to work extra hard. I don't need to add another subject. So just have one subject, either the subject itself or a pronoun, but not both. All right? And if you want to really master this, then of course, do our quiz at www.engvid.com. And you can also check out lots and lots of other lessons there. And if you want to keep correcting these kind of small mistakes that make a big difference in your English, then subscribe to my YouTube channel and you'll keep getting lots of lessons of this kind. Okay? Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.